Hi, guys. In this part of the interview, we're going to be talking more about Piacenza as a city and how, if you're a student there, what life might look like. So, the first question I want to kind of ask is what is the weather like? Because I think the weather is the most important aspect when picking a university, but I don't know. So,
Yeah, that's important for sure. The weather is um, basically just like it is in most of Italian northern cities. So it can get rainy on, I wouldn't say most days, but it could get rainy often while during fall and also spring. And the summers could be really um, hard, especially if you live or stay in places without air conditioning. So yeah, summers are really harsh actually because that's high. There's high humidity in general, and there in the last years it got really hot. Like on some days, not that often, but on some days here I'm living near Parma and yeah, in this area. Um, on some days it got almost to 40 degrees Celsius
okay, yeah, that's quite hot.
with with that and with high humidity. That's not really enjoyable.
No, no.
There's high humidity most of the year, not actually. And on the during winter instead. Um, it doesn't get to snow that often. In for past years, it didn't snow that much, maybe just a week or two. So snow is not really a problem, but also in cities, snow that's not really a problem because um, in most cities here are pretty well organized. So there's even if it snows, if that's not an exceptional event, there isn't much snow on the streets, and they also clean pedestrian sidewalks, so it's still pretty livable.
So, would you
And
recommend students to try and find a house with AC? Like, would AC be pretty common?
yeah, if they plan to stay in Piacenza, well, they would have to stay in They will have to stay in Piacenza to sit for exams in summer. It's better they find a place with AC for summer months, and if they don't have AC, just to buy one of those cheap standalone thing. Well, pretty cheap compared to an AC system.
Yeah, yeah.
Standalone things to get cool air.
Okay.
Those are called pinguini in Italian. I don't know if you're
I
or
think
if you
I
have
think
one.
I've seen the Dyson ones, like the inside is empty, maybe, like it blows air. I don't know. I'm sure.
Oh, not really the Dyson one. Oh, those are just like yeah, those rectangular boxes which
Oh,
stay.
okay, okay. Yeah, and you put a pipe out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, that
okay.
pipe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Anyways,
I'm sure
anyways,
people will figure it out.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Anyways, in winter, it can get cold. Not that cold, but still cold because you could have minus up to -10 in the morning actually, and during the night obviously. But on most days it will be just
wait, sorry,
around
did you say
zero.
-10?
Oh yeah, when it's really cold it could get.
That is really cold. Like, because in Rome it only goes
But
to like 0, 1. Like, it rarely
yeah,
dips.
but on most days it would be at maximum -5 or around zero in later hours, and
Okay.
would get a bit warmer during the day and stay over zero. But yeah, it could get really cold
Wow.
sometimes.
Okay, yeah, that's quite cold.
Yeah, I'm talking about my experience. I don't actually live in the city. in cities like Piacenza, Parma, it's a bit warmer in general because there are more buildings. I live a bit outside the city, so here it
Okay,
gets a bit colder.
makes
But in
sense.
cities, yeah, it's probably they're not gonna see more than minus 5.
Okay, cool. So, what would the transportation options be like? Because if students are like biking to school, I
Yeah,
can't imagine that's pleasant in -5. So, like, could you tell me a little
yeah.
bit about Piacenza's transportation? Can you bike? Can you
So
walk? What's the recommended?
in Piacenza, there are well, bikes are pretty common as a main of transport in most cities in Emilia-Romagna, and so I ex I there are bike lanes made pretty well somewhere, mm, pretty bad somewhere else, and no bike lanes in some other places. But a nice thing is that it's legal to go in the opposite lane with your bike, and well, that's safer for you because you see cars, and cars are not yeah, coming from behind you, and that's legal here. And another thing, in Piacenza, there are, as we're talking about bikes, there are public bikes you could get. Um,
Oh, like the
there are the
rented
ones,
ones with the app?
yeah, with the
Okay.
state known. Uh, for sure, there are the ones with the station. I actually don't know if there are also the normal ones, the free floating ones, with the app that you could park where you want. But there are the station based ones, and there is a station right in front of the building which hosts the medicine and surgery classroom.
Oh, that's very convenient.
And there are also scooters. Those are free floating, and there is obviously transit, and in Piacenza is only buses. But there is this new line they called Metro Bus, I believe, which runs approximately across all the main sites of Piacenza and also to the medicine and surgery classroom. And these runs every 10 minutes on all weekdays from Monday to Friday. On other days, so Saturdays and Sundays and the public holidays, there are some other bus lines which enables people to get pretty conveniently around without much hassle. For every person, which is um, for every person under 27 years of age, there is a discounted option for bus the bus subscription, and it is 240 euros per year. There are also some other options like a monthly subscription, and also there is the subscriptions for older people, which is just a bit more and is basically 260 euros.
Okay, so basically the
And
same.
for a room, well, here I see full houses for 600 euros in the university area, but I believe they could get a broader perspective by looking themselves on websites like Idealista, or for Italy, immobiliare.it, immobiliare.it, and also on Facebook groups, like just by looking for, yeah, affitti Piacenza or camere Piacenza, which are the Italian words for rent apartments in Piacenza or rent rooms in Piacenza. There are Facebook groups for these kinds of things in Italy, and it's pretty common to look for rooms or in general accommodation in those on Facebook, yeah, on Facebook groups.
What about the scholarships? Are there dorms for the Ergo scholarship?
So there is no ergo dorm in Piacenza, as far far of what I've seen from the Ergo website. So yeah, also about that. But these scholarships have some have some yeah, full scholarships are just money that you get so you can spend them on whatever you want. And the scholarships which have some money allotted for accommodation, if you don't get to a dorm because there are no dorms, or if you choose not to go to a dorm, you can get the amount allotted for accommodation in cash, so you can pay for what you prefer.
What about the general like cost of living? Because you know, like Milan and Rome are very high, whereas you know,
Yeah,
like Messina and Bari are quite low. If you could like make a rough comparison, like how would you describe the cost of living? Like how much should students aim to spend? Like what would be a minimum that they grocery shop, they eat out once a week, and they buy coffee at school, which is only like 50, 60 cents. I don't know. So how much would you think the
yeah.
cost of living is?
The cost of living is probably higher than in Messina, but for sure is a bit less than in Messina or in most southern cities. But for sure is at least a bit less if compared with cities like Bologna or Milan. So to eat out, if they don't want to eat sushi or eat in really fancy restaurants, maybe they could, or yeah, maybe they could, um, for a single like dinner or stuff like that, they could spend approximately 15 to 20 euros. It depends obviously on what they eat and what they drink. Maybe they could just spend some 10 euros if they go to a pizza place and have a beer or water. And for drinks, well, this is pretty weird, but in small cities, drinks tend to cost less, probably tend to cost more, probably because there is less offer, like in my hometown, where there is no university. You could pay as you it's difficult to find like a spritz for under 5 euros,
Okay, yeah,
while
that's
in cities like not even Venezia, where that's basically given quite for free, like 1 euro is basically free. Not even Venezia, but like in Milan, from experience, you could get spritz for way less
yeah.
than 5 euros, and also in Rome, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, in smaller cities like Piacenza or Parma, in most, at least in most bars, drinks tend to cost at least 5 euros. Maybe there are some bars which cater to students or where that are a bit cheaper, but this is not the norm or the rule, yeah. And for this, yeah, this is pretty it for drinks or having eating out for dinner. But yeah, well, while to eat out like for a simple lunch after uni or stuff like that, um, depending on how much you would like to eat, I will while going to a bar or yeah stuff like that, you could spend some 5 to 10 euros. It depends on yeah how much you eat and what kind of service you look for. If you want to sit down or just have something standing, or to just get away your the food. Yeah.
Um, so the last question that I kind of want to ask is one kind of like like activities for people in general in the city and also outside of the city, because you know like Parma's only 40 minutes away, so maybe there's like more museums there, or maybe like Milan is like, I don't know, an hour train away. So can you tell me a little bit about like what students can easily do within the city but also maybe outside of the city if it's like well connected?
Yeah, Parma is excuse me, Milan is less than 1 hour by train. So yeah, that's a pretty nice opportunity. But also Parma is just under an hour by train. So, and the regional trains are kind of cheap. Not that cheap if you take them regularly, but kind of cheap to a day trip or stuff like that. And both um, Parma and Milan have lots of art museums or just other kinds of museums and historical sites to see, like churches or Roman buildings or just some nice buildings that there are in the cities. While instead, well, Piacenza for sure has an historic city center, which is really nice and has some really old and important historically and artistically buildings. And for sure, as it's nice bars, I mean, right, and they also do some events there, right? I mean, right now there is this food market with foods from all around Europe in one of the city center main streets. And what else? For sure, in Piacenza there are some um, sport uh, societies where you could go practice um, for cheap. I mean, if you choose not to go to a gym but to practice a certain sport, you could spend less than actually going to a gym paying a subscription. And also a nice thing that probably offers some opportunities is that Piacenza is really close to the Po River. So maybe they could go do rafting or other water sports that wouldn't be available in Milan or Parma. And yeah, that's pretty much it about
That's pretty cool
Piacenza.
though about the river. I didn't
Yeah.
know that was an option. Like I had no idea that you could do rafting on the Po. Like it never even occurred to me that.
Oh well, I don't believe it's so that safe to bath there
Hmm.
for some reasons, but for sure you could go there and yeah, just
Try. See what's
getting on
there.
boats. Oh well, you could, but also get on some boats. For sure, there are boats going on the Po or some sport companies which could where you with you could go there rafting or going with a kayak, or
Okay.
it's just nice to have to like go with your bike north or south following the Po River, or just have walks there.
All right. Okay. That's pretty awesome. Pretty unique as well. And I think that basically concludes all of the questions. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. I know it was very long, and I will be
Thank you
sharing
so much for the
the guides and the
thank you so
pictures to everything in the description and the links as well because they're really cool. And yeah, awesome. I guess we can say goodbye to everyone if you want.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and goodbye to everyone. Hope to see you in Piacenza or maybe also in Parma, as we welcome 20 um, extra European students every year in our Italian course.
Oh, of course. The Italian course also has them. Okay.
Yeah.